Hello, this is Idodmg and welcome back to the channel. In this Torchlight 3 video, I want to talk about the Dusk Mage, kind of talk about my playthrough on Ridiculous, give some of my thoughts and impressions on the class, and share some thoughts that I had while leveling up. I'm excited to share all these details with you today. Let's go ahead and jump right into the video. So before we go ahead and jump into the Dusk Mage, I want to just let you know that my very first Ridiculous playthrough in the early access state of the game was on a Railmaster. So transitioning and playing on a Dusk Mage felt significantly different and significantly easier. It still wasn't easy by any means, but it just felt a little bit easier and better. And I'm not entirely sure. It seems like maybe because the Dusk Mage is meant to be more of a ranged class than the Railmaster is. And that's probably just down to simple balancing issues that I know the developers are aware of. One more side note, and then we'll go ahead and get into all the juicy details. I did happen to play a little bit of co-op with this character. Shout out to Shampoostra. We ended up actually beating Act 2 together, like, sit up to like 5 a.m. playing or something super unresponsible. But hey, it was a fun time, so shout out to you, man. With that in mind, let's go ahead and talk about my experience from the beginning of Act 1 all the way through completing the current content in the game. When you very first start the game, you start the game out with Holy Bolt. And once you've leveled up your very first time, you then have options here to go into Unholy Bolt or Dark Spears. Before we jump into the skills and I throw loads of information at you, let's just talk really quick about the Dusk Mage and what makes it special compared to the other classes. It's all explained right here in your skills tab. Basically, it comes down to a light buff and a dark buff. So the way that it works is you have these meters around your mana bar. The light one being your light, dark being your dark, obviously, okay? The way that you charge up your dark meter is by using light skills. So your Unholy Bolt. Or in this case, I'm using Absolver. But anyway, it's the skill that you're using. It gives you the opposite element of that, which makes the kind of an interesting gameplay that we'll get into a little bit more in the video here. And then the way that you charge up your light bar is by using dark skills. So you need to kind of keep that in mind. I'll have some gameplay going in the background so you can kind of see what I'm talking about a little bit there. But the way that I like to play is I like to have both buffs up simultaneously. And it's a little bit hard to pull off, but I found a way for it to work about 50% of the time. What the light buff does is it gives you mana regeneration, and what the dark buff does is it gives you a 50% damage increase to all skills. Not only dark skills, but all skills. So you can see why those two being both up at the same time is super strong and powerful. However, it's hard to pull that off. Now, let's go ahead and talk about the skill tree now that you know the basics of the Dusk Mage. So, as I said, you get Holy Bolt, which I don't have it unlocked right now, but it is just literally one little Holy Bolt that shoots out, and it's an okay starter skill. After that, once you hit level 5 is when you unlock your tier 2 skills, because it's every 5 levels, so 5, 10, 15, and 20. Same for the Dark Tree as well. But one side comment here, and all during Torchlight Frontiers and during the closed beta, I really loved using Holy Fury. It's a channeled beam of holy energy, and I like channeled beam-like abilities. They're just fun to use and control and aim around at bad guys, right? But there's a bug that I found with the game, which I did report on Nolt, where Holy Fury doesn't trigger the holy buff, or the light buff, whatever you want to call it. So basically, I just couldn't use the skill. I hope that this gets changed in the future, since when we get bigger updates, when Act 3 comes and things like that, I am going to level up all the way through again, just check the balance changes and stuff, because that's what I find fun in Torchlight 3. So, since I wasn't able to use Holy Fury, sadly, I was pretty much forced with using Holy Bolt up until I could get Absolver. And I know you're thinking right now, well, there's all these other light skills, why don't you just use these? I'm not sure if Consecration triggers the light buff. It might, but it does have a cooldown tied to it. So with the cooldown, you can't just use it whenever you want, right? And same with Light Spear. This also has charges which have to recharge. So I like to be able to use it whenever I can. So with that in mind, I was basically forced to use Holy Bolt up until I got to level 20 for Absolver, which is a really sweet skill. Check this out. When you first get it, there's only 3 projectiles, but once you've gone all the way into the tier 3 bonus, you get 2 additional missiles. It's pretty cool. But let's not get ahead of ourselves and jump to the end of the tree quite yet. So while leveling up, let's go back to our dark tree here. And if you're playing a Dusk Mage and you're wondering what's really, really strong early on, definitely recommend Dark Spears. It has really good utility with slowing enemies, but that's not really what I used it for. I used it more for the high damage output. It's 135% of your weapon damage. So with that in mind, you want to replace your basic skill as soon as you can, just so you can use a skill that scales with your weapon damage, which that's a whole nother topic of basic attacks and stat sticks for scaling damage on your skills. But I don't want to get into that in this video because I kind of want to keep the video a little bit shorter than the last one with the Railmaster, which I'll have the card up above for the Railmaster impressions video if you want to check that out. So Dark Spears is where it's at. It is one super strong skill. Tier 1 bonus, you get 50% more duration, a 10% cooldown for all of your skills at tier 2. Now, keep in mind, this is a passive skill, so even if I didn't want to use that skill and it wasn't on my bar, I would still get that passive buff. So keep that in mind. You'll see a lot of skills that have that. Just keep that in mind that that's a thing in this game. That's how passives work. And tier 3, I haven't got, but looks insane. The fact that it just immediately hits. Anyway, it's a pretty cool skill, and it's really good for funneling mobs into a choke point and then just stacking up some Dark Spears. It seems like I've got some cooldown reduction, so I could get a few Dark Spears out at once. It's honestly one of the strongest skills I think in the game for Dusk Mage anyway. Let's go back to our Dark skill. I don't want to bounce back and forth too much. Let's go ahead and here and talk about the tier 2 Dark skill, which is this Shadow Step. This is going to be your mobility skill, your movement skill, your circuit breaker, whatever you want to call it, so that when you're body blocked or trapped, you can use this to get out. I believe it comes, I know it says 1 charge, but I think it came with 2. Maybe it's because I had the Legendary on in my Legendarium, but it is definitely, I mean, I think required, especially early on. You get it at level 5. I only put 1 point, and I only use it for the movement ability. That's it. It's basically just a teleport. I can show it to you real quick here. There you go. Just a simple teleport, and you can see why that's, if you've played the game at all, you can see why that would be really good. There's a lot of body blocking in the game, man. So that is your Shadow Step there. And just one more quick note on this skill. Me personally, I probably wouldn't put loads of points in. The mana regeneration for the tier 2 bonus would be alright, but it's a little bit low to really prioritize. I think this would be more of like a last resort, like where I would put my points type of deal. There's probably better passives on the tree as well for more damage and stuff. And then the tier 1 bonus is cool, but you know, again, it's literally just for movement. That's all it was for me. And the tier 3 bonus is cool, but you can get items to give you more charges, so not really necessary. On to the, let's go back here to the light tree, and we talked about Holy Fury. Let's just touch on Consecration real quick here. Basically what this does is it's a light circle that you put on the ground, and you get a damage boost, and then any other players that are in it also give you a damage boost, and they get a damage boost as well. So it's a really solid co-op option, which I was playing with one of my Forge buddies. Shout out to you, 10 Squid. And I like to use it, but him being a melee player and me being more of a ranged, it became more of a hassle to have to run in to drop it so he could benefit and then try to sit in there. And also, once he branched off and I went back to solo, it just wasn't very great for solo since I was kiting so much, so I dropped the skill in favor of Light Spear at level 10. Now, this skill, let me tell you, wow, look out for this one. It's really strong. It has healing potential, good utility, and quite a bit of damage. The downside of this one is it does have quite a bit of a cooldown time on it. Here's what the skill looks like. It comes with 2 charges, and it feels like about a 10-second cooldown. It's really strong though, and it's definitely nice as a filler option in my opinion. And also you'll notice the tier 2 bonus here where you get a 50% longer holy charge duration, which we'll talk about here in a minute. Let's just go over the tier 3 dark skills. My number 1 all-time favorite Dusk Mage skill is Spirit Well. This summons your pet, so you can kind of get like a little pet Zoomancer type of thing going, and you get pet damage, all that fun stuff. Definitely a cool spell. Definitely check it out. Like I said, probably one of my number 1 favorites right behind Entropy. You also have your Energy Spike. This one has some weird things with it. Here, let me show you what it looks like real quick. And you can kind of see it. It like branches out. It seems like it tries to like home in on mobs, but sometimes it like, I don't know, to hit like the edge of the map and cancel out and not work or something. But It wasn't my favorite skill, but I definitely did use it for a while. But you're going to want the tier 2 bonus on this skill because of the unholy charge duration. Now, let's take a minute and pause on the skills and me just nerding out on what all the skills do and everything, and just talk about the charges. So you remember at the beginning of the video when I said it's pretty hard to maintain both buffs at the same time? Until you get the tier 2 bonus on this skill and the light skill to increase both charge durations, it's quite the challenge to keep both of them up. But once you've extended the duration by that 50%, you're going to notice a huge improvement with maintaining and balancing both those buffs. So I almost feel like these two bonus passives are required. That's my personal opinion and thoughts on that. So I won't go on much anymore about that, but also, so you got to remember, you get your mana regen buff, your damage buff, but there's also skills that do more things if you're charged. Like this one, you do an extra energy spike if you're unholy charged. And I think the light has one like that. Yeah, you can see the tier 3 bonus there. Anyway, so let's see here. Let's go on here to the next light skills. And I'm just going to comment real quick here. I mean, I'll just show you kind of what they are and my thoughts. So Iridium Blast is a really cool skill in theory. However, I believe it's currently bugged, and I don't think that infused enemies truly explode on death, like the tier 1 bonus says. I did have that unlocked, and I just didn't see it triggering. I'm not sure if that's a bug or what's up with that, but, you know, it's early access, and bugs are expected, so... I liked it. It looks cool. It's like a big holy circle Nova bomb AoE thing. It looks really cool, and it's a really fun skill. I think it looks cooler than Absolver, but... Anyway, definitely worth dropping a point in there just to check out, just so you can kind of see what it all looks like. Luminous Run is another movement skill. You get this later on, though, at level 15. With that in mind, you already have your movement skill, Shadow Step, so I just ignored Luminous Run. Back in Frontiers and Closed Beta, I did use the Luminous Run because it used to be earlier on in the skill tree. For whatever reason, they've changed it. You know, I don't get it. I wish that they would change Run and the Consecration here, and just flip their tiers so that you have a choice when you hit level 5 if you want to get the Shadow Step or Run. But anyway, just kind of my thoughts there. And I mean, the heal is nice on the tier 1. Relic active skill damage. I mean, it's not a bad skill. Not a bad skill by any means. But with Shadow Step, it's just, I don't know. I liked it better. Anyway. I'm kind of reminiscing. I really like playing the Dusk Mage. It was really chill, really fun. But yeah, that's going to be it for your tier 4, level 15 light skills. Onto the dark, you get Damnation. Didn't use this skill. It just, the way I read it is that it's an AoE that stays in one spot. And if you've played Ridiculous, you know that you're going to always be kiting. And, you know, I just don't think mobs are going to stay in that AoE that long. Maybe if I paired it up with Dark Spears and could slow them and then drop a Damnation on top of them, but I just chose to not use it. Maybe once we get Act 3 and I can get to level 60 and stuff like that, I'll check it out, but that's my stance on it currently. And as I'm making this video, which I love to do, I noticed that the tier 3 does immobilize for 1 second, but even with that, I just don't think it'd be enough. I think the mobs would still be moving out of the skill. Anyway, we'll try it out in the future and on a different Dusk Mage build. How about that? Last but not least, and one of the biggest changes to the Dusk Mage was the Entropy being later on in the skill tree. I talked about it with the Railmaster where they moved the more powerful skills onto the end of the skill tree. I think it's a smart decision, to be honest. And I think they've reworked this one a little bit as well. Anyway, basically it's just a big orb that shoots out like shrapnel and does a crap ton of damage. It's really strong, but it does cost quite a bit of mana. Also, on your tier 2 bonus here, you can get a 10% crit chance for all dark skills, and that's a passive, and you now know what passives are since we already talked about that. And the tier 1 bonus is real nice where it lasts longer and it goes slower because it does pierce through enemies, so it just rolls through damaging everything. Really, really cool skill. Definitely pick it up, check it out. And last but not least, we already talked about this one, Absolver. This was definitely my dark charge generator. Good skill. Good skill. Definitely, I think probably one of the fan favorites currently. I see most Dusk Mages using it. On to pets and pet skills. Not going to spend a ton of time on this one. I went over it in the Railmaster video. I did do one thing a little bit different here. So I always like to go crit chance, aura, all-time favorite, defense, and your battle cry for an increase of damage. On the Railmaster, I went healing. This time around, though, I wanted to try pass the gas. And basically, your dog lets out a small cloud of gas that deals damage and has a chance to fear. It lasts for 6 seconds. It looks pretty cool. I'll be honest with you, though, I didn't really notice that huge of an impact. But when it procced and I happened to see it, it was kind of cool looking. Anyway, that's it for pet skills. That's all I really want to talk about there. As far as relics go, I did try to go with the flame relic a little bit. And I tried to not use Bane that I already had from my Railmaster, because Bane is just super OP, especially if you've already leveled it. But you can see I caved after like level 15 and went back and grabbed my Bane anyway to carry me through Act 2. So, there's a rework in progress on Relics, if you didn't know that already. They're wanting to bring everything up to par with Bane. They showed off a sneak peek on the Play Torchlight Discord. Make sure you join it. For, I think it was the Flame Relic or something. Looks pretty cool. I'm excited for the changes, and I can't wait for that patch to come. So, yeah. We covered Bane in the Railmaster video. Basically, I used it for the poison spiders. Kind of get more of that pet theme going. And as far as Legendarium went, so you get these, at least I did. I got these items early on in my playthrough, the Celestial set. Insanely overpowered. I mean, insanely overpowered set. Like, I feel like you have to use this set. And to be honest with you, I don't like that feeling. It's just so strong. And imagine if I could get my set bonus and get even more. Real quick, what it does is you can see it gives you +1 to all your light skills, and then the mask gives you +1 to all of your dark skills. The way that you would normally gain +1 to just one skill is by leveling up. So basically, in essence, that's 14 extra skill points that I'm getting, right? Okay, because there's 7 skills in each tree. So I'm getting 14 extra skill points. Now, if I had the set bonus rolling, that would be 28 extra skill levels or skill points. That's an extra 28 levels. So, if you think about that, the level cap is 60. Now, if I put on these, that then means that basically my levels, if we're just talking about points to put into your skill trees, then increases up to 88. Do you see what I'm saying here? It's very overpowered. Very overpowered. I don't know how they could tune it or change it, but really strong. I mean, just really strong. Especially early game, because you can get access to those tier 1 bonuses even earlier on. And on top of it, the helmet looks cool. So that's my Legendarium. I was using the egg that everyone uses for a while, but yeah, I mean, these are just too strong to not use. So there you go. Hopefully one day I can find them and actually wear them on my armor and wear the set and get the set bonus. And I guess I have the pants as well, which gives a 50% more effective dark buff. So just crazy. And then, yeah, I mean, just imagine if I was wearing those. That set's really good for Dusk Mage. I just, sorry, I kind of like just went off topic there, but it just, like, my mind just was blown. I just started to think about that. Anyway, that's really it, I think, for the Dusk Mage and kind of the skills, the pets, the relics, the Legendarium, my choices made and why, what the skills do. Hopefully that was a good overview, and hopefully it'll help some Dusk Mage out there. And maybe I missed something. If there's something I didn't know or maybe got wrong, let me know down in the comments, or feel free to join the Discord, hit me up there, and let's have a conversation. Please feel free to check out all that down below in the video description. I can't thank you guys enough for your time, and I hope this video was helpful to someone out there. I know I said that twice now. With that said, if you enjoyed the video and all the other content on the channel, don't forget to like, subscribe, tell your friends about the channel, have them come join the damage crew. You all are awesome. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.